It's been a pretty busy morning for the world of video games and video game news. There's a bunch of stories I want to cover, covering things like Grand Theft Auto 6, what Xbox is doing, and a big change that Nintendo has done. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Without any further ado, let's just hop straight into it because we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll talk about Xbox first and foremost. Now, yesterday, I did make a video on the channel talking about the potential for some layoffs and studio closures to be coming to Xbox. And there's been some questions about the validity of the source and the rumors. Allegedly, some Xbox insiders said that it was all hearsay and stuff like that. But even if we strip away the bare core of the rumor itself, we have seen Microsoft do plentiful layoffs in the month of January. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility, especially when you look at how strong they are pushing towards AI and the way Satya Nadella has been running things as of late, especially when it comes to the Xbox brand as far as transitioning into a more unconventional console. But I thought it was worth talking about. But we actually have good Xbox stuff to talk about today because they have announced their first Developer Direct season. Now, usually these developer directs aren't all that interesting to me, but we will be seated for this one, folks. There are some key titles that I am definitely looking forward to seeing. Now, this will be taking place on January 22nd at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, as Celia B with 3 E's calls it. And so 1 p.m. for normal humans such as myself who live on the East Coast, Beast Coast. Now, as far as the games are concerned, Beast of Reincarnation is one of them. I don't know what that is. But Forza Horizon 6 and Fable will both be at this presentation. And we are going to be seated for this, folks, because if you know anything about me, Forza Horizon 6 is one of my most anticipated games of 2026, considering that they are finally going to Japan. And I just feel like that Japanese landscape is going to be so much more interesting than the last landscape we had for Forza Horizon 5. Like, I love Forza Horizon 5, don't get me wrong, but I just thought the environments were kind of boring, and comparative to what you can do with Japan, having city landscapes and big windy downhill or uphill events and stuff like that, I feel like you could do a lot more with that. But really, the real interesting thing has to be Fable, right? Like, I don't think anyone necessarily expected Fable to be talked about so early. I know there have been, some questions about Fable as far as character design is concerned, gameplay is concerned. How is this going to stack up versus other Fable games? But I am interested in looking at it. At worst case, it's a decent Fable game. At best case, it kind of reinvigorates the franchise and, maybe actually does the things that it promised. Like the original Fable was promised by good old lying Peter Molyneux, and none of that stuff ended up happening. But I am looking forward to this. 2 of the 3 games, and I don't know, I might like Beast of Reincarnation. You know what? I think that's that Game Freak game. So I am interested to see just how they have honed in the performance of that game, because it did look a little bit crusty when they first showed it off. Visually, it looked very impressive, but the frame rate didn't look very good. But even if that game doesn't impress like Fable, Forza Horizon 6, these are key games, and I don't know, man. I hope we get some release dates or something, because I want to play these games. Like, I'm going to keep it a buck with you here. These are games, that I'm looking forward to, especially Forza Horizon 6. I've been playing a lot of Forza Horizon 5 lately. I actually finally turned on my PS5 and got the Gran Turismo 7 free DLC. I've been enjoying that. I need a new racing game. Tokyo Extreme Racer comes out, and I'm going to play the hell out of that, but I'm definitely looking forward to Forza Horizon 6 as well. What do you think about this announcement? Do you think this bodes well for Xbox in 2026 as far as hitting their releases for their anticipated games? Let me know what you think of it in the comment section down below, pal. And then the next story, well, it's not a positive one here. But if you listen to me on various podcasts, you listen to me talking about this game, I've always kind of been of the mindset that it was not coming out when it was anticipated it to be coming out. And that game, of course, is Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed a couple of times, I believe now, with the latest delay pushing it to November of 2026. And I definitely had my concerns when it comes to that, because I just felt like it's been delayed multiple times. You're in kind of a weird situation right now with the gaming industry as a whole. Maybe they'll, what sort of expectations do they have with this game? What does the game, because when you really think about it, we haven't really seen much of the game itself. Like, we've seen some curated trailers, which I will chop up and put for this section, because Rockstar claims trailers like it's 2011. Like, get over yourselves, Rockstar. It's promotion. It's showing the game to make people anticipate it. But November of 2026 has always felt a little bit strange to me, and I thought it was going to slip into 2027. And it seems like there is a little bit of credence to that rumor, because your friend and mine, well, he's not really my friend, but he did unblock me when he came on the Spawncast. Jason Schreier is reporting that the game is not content complete yet, meaning that there are still stuff to do as far as content is concerned, as far as missions, or, we don't really know what that actually entails and the depth of it. It could just be, one or two little side missions. It could be key missions. It could be this, that, or the other. But it definitely opens up the door to questions as to whether or not this will meet the targeted November 2026 release date. Because I feel like if they're still working on content in January, like, you got to remember here, I feel like the content and the bug checks, like, they are one and the same as far as what you have to do, how much stuff you have to do, and how long it's going to take you to do something like that. This is obviously something that is going to take a lot of time to make sure that the game is not buggy and there's not game-breaking glitches and stuff like that. And when you're talking about a massive open world game such as Grand Theft Auto 6, which we anticipate is going to be the biggest and most robust and most detailed open world that we've ever seen in a game, if you're still working on content in January, I don't know. I think it gets delayed again. I think spring 2027 is when it actually comes out. I have said that since the initial delay. The fact that they haven't shown anything else since then. It was oh, sorry, we got to delay it a little bit more, but they delayed it. It was supposed to come out in May, and then they delayed it 2 months ago. And so you gave yourself 7 extra months between when you announced the delay and when the game was supposed to come out. I feel like there's more than meets the eye with this. So is Grand Theft Auto 6 going to get delayed again? Probably. I think they're just kind of waiting for the world to end. Like, they haven't even started working on the game. They just figured the world was going to end by now. And they're like, wait a minute, it hasn't happened yet? Oh, we might have to delay this a little bit more. Let me know what you think of this in the comments down below. Do you think this is concerning for that November release? Because I think it is. And I don't think it's coming out in November. And finally, got to give credit where credit is due. And Nintendo had a couple announcements this morning. The first one, I didn't care about. Some pastel Joy-Con 2s were announced. Okay, it doesn't really match the aesthetic of the system, in my opinion, since they have that sort of weird orange and blue to it. But whatever. Do you, partner? Do you, fancy up your Switch 2? But yes, there are some new Joy-Cons coming out. But the more interesting thing to me was a big overview trailer for Mario Tennis Fever. And I could say with 100% certainty that Nintendo has listened to the fan base with this. They are not someone that often listens to the fan base. Let's be real. They do what they want, when they want, and how they want to do it. But I really feel like with Mario Tennis Fever, they did indeed listen to the fan base, because they did a big overview trailer today, and they honestly fixed my biggest issue with Mario sports games and many people's biggest issues with Mario sports games on the original Nintendo Switch. The lack of content. Now, at the end of the game's life cycle, you had a lot of content. Look at Mario Tennis Aces and the Mario Golf game and stuff like that. They started out a little bit, pretty bare bones. and then they added in a few more characters here. Oh, here's some more free characters and stuff like that. And I didn't like that. I felt like it artificially elongated the life cycle of the game when you should just be giving people a vast amount of characters. And if you want to add more stuff down the road, you want to add more game modes and stuff, you do that at the appropriate time. But with Mario Tennis Fever, this is the complete opposite of Switch 1 Nintendo sports games. There are 38 playable characters at the launch of the game. There are different modes. There's tournament modes. There's trial towers. There's the adventure mode. There's classic rules. There's no fever rackets. There's some fever rackets. There's different course types. There's different sorts of environmental hazards and stuff like that. This game is very, very robust in terms of content on day one, which is the complete polar opposite of every Nintendo Switch sports game made by Nintendo on the Nintendo Switch. That was kind of redundant to say. And most importantly, Game Share is in this. So you only need one copy of the game if you want to play it with someone on your Nintendo Switch 2 friends list. And I think that's awesome. I love Game Share. It's probably one of the most underrated features of the Nintendo Switch 2 because of the simplicity of it. The fact that you have built-in voice chat, the fact that you can communicate with people while you're playing the game and do all this fun stuff, and it works very well. So I definitely feel like Nintendo took some of this feedback to heart with this because, you know, if what they were doing was working with the Switch 1 sports games that involved Mario, the drip feed of content, this, that, the other, I think they would have done the same thing with this. But this is a pretty sizable change. You know, this is content rich at the launch of the game, and I am here for it. I will be picking this up on day one. I am really looking forward to this game. I was looking forward to the game to begin with, but now I think it looks even better. I think it looks even better. But what do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. And folks, that's what I got for you guys today. Like I said, 3 stories. Interesting stuff going on. You know, a lot of stuff to talk about. Give me your thoughts and feedback. Are you excited for the Xbox event? How do you think Fable will look? I don't know. What do you think about the potential for another Grand Theft Auto 6 delay? I think it's going to happen. And Mario Tennis Fever. Are you stoked for this game? Do you think Nintendo did take feedback to heart with the Mario sports games on the Switch and course corrected it? Because I really think they did. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.